your parents would tell you, do this, be this way, change right away, do this thing. The idea is you want to kind of, a lot of people assimilate that into their beings and they treat themselves the way that their parents treated them. So they're always shaking their finger at themselves like, oh, you shouldn't do this, or, oh, you're an idiot. So the idea is to give that up and to start loving yourself exactly as you are right now.
Yeah.
So that's the big revolutionary move, is to like, instead of like always constantly being on the move to like make yourself whatever it is, thinner, fatter, more muscular, more disciplined, learn a language, learn to play piano, whatever the thing it is, instead of setting up this situation where once you've achieved a six-pack, once you've gotten married, once you've had kids, once you have this much money in the bank, once you've done this amount of service work, that's when you're going to start loving yourself. When you're like this. So if you're doing that to yourself, then you're definitely doing it to everybody else.
Instead of accepting people for what they are right now.
Yeah.
Just like, I like this part about you, the other part, whatever.
If you can start loving yourself as you are right now, you're probably going to be able to start at least slightly loving the people around you more than you currently do.
How can you love yourself? How can that include your faults?
Well, because you have to have compassion on yourself.
So, like, I still love you. I wish you would be better in school. Like, if you're a father, you're like, I love my son no matter what. But let's try to make you do better.
Not I wish you would be better. It's like when a baby starts crying, you don't think like, God, I wish you would just fucking shape up. That's
how I feel when I see a baby crying.
You love the baby. You hold the baby. You cradle the baby. You would be one of the people who shakes babies. You don't do that. You love the baby. So in the same way, it's like, look at you. Ari Shaffir, you got launched into a fucking dimension where you're going to die. Yeah. Everything you know, everyone you know, everything that you own, everything you've thought, every connection you've ever had will completely evaporate into nothingness.
Yeah.
So that's already a traumatic experience if you know that's the case. Like, there's no way you can just easily accept that fact. Right. It's like your mom's going to turn into either fucking ashes or worm food. Right. Your mom's going to merge with a coffin eventually.
Yeah.
You're going to lose it. So this is a very traumatic, just that.
Just that realization, yeah.
Right. So, but that's not just that, because the family that you were born into had problems. Everyone's did. Maybe your mom didn't love you enough. Maybe your mom loved you too much. Maybe your dad was like distant, or maybe your dad was like gone, or who knows. Yeah. So there's all these traumas that happen to people, and it's fucking brutal, man.
So what? So
the point is, like, how the fuck do you expect yourself to be some kind of perfect cool cucumber when you got shot into a dimension where you're going to die, more than likely into a family of fucking people who also were terrified of dying and had.
But then, how do you change anything if you just accept everything for? Well, like, I love myself for who I am, but I would like to learn Spanish.
That's where the real change happens, man. That's where the real change can happen. Instead of pseudo change, instead of temporary change, we're talking about a real change. Here's the idea.
How? Why?
Here's the idea. If being an asshole to other people, made people better.
Yeah.
If wishing people were different, if being down on other people made people better, we would live on a planet populated with the coolest people that ever existed. Everybody would be better. Everybody would be getting better because everybody's a shithead to everybody else. Right? So in that same way, that means that being a shithead to yourself, judging yourself, being cruel to yourself, harsh to yourself, hard on yourself, to think that that's going to change you somehow into something better is insanity. It doesn't work. It doesn't fucking work.
So what does change you?
If it worked, then everyone would be awesome too, because everyone's so hard on themselves.
Yeah.
So that means you have to try something different. And the different thing to try for once is, instead of looking at yourself, and you can't pull it off completely. You're always going to have parts of yourself just make the vague attempt at recognizing that if you're whatever age you are, you've been through some serious fucking shit, and it hasn't been easy for you. It hasn't been easy. So give yourself a fucking break. Yeah,
but don't you still want to then better yourself?
The first step in the direction of bettering yourself is to stop being a cocksucker to yourself.
Right.
Stop being mean to yourself. If you want to better yourself, stop being an abusive parent to yourself.
Yeah. But then how do you wish, I wish I was better at this?
Well, it's the same thing that I was telling you, man. When you look at somebody with love, look at how they'll change. Right? They'll change right in front of you. So if you look at yourself with love, just be there in the moment with yourself and try to embrace yourself and see what happens.
The biggest love I can see is a parent-child. Seems the most, what's the word? I love you no matter what. What's that word?
Unconditional love.
It seems most unconditional. But even then, it's still like, my son's great. Let's say your son's 20. Like, he's great. I wish he'd find a girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Or I wish he'd, it's not that you don't love him.
I don't know that using parental love as the fucking watermark for what unconditional love looks like is a great move, because a lot of parents, they are the opposite of loving unconditionally. They so desperately want you to be something else that you're existing in this terrible family where that your instincts are drawing you in the direction of who knows what, man. But your parents are trying to push you in some other direction.
Okay, well, another kind of love then, friendship or boy girl or whatever, attracted people to each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the idea. Find some.
But can't you still wish they would change in certain ways? Jesus, scared me. Can't you still wish they would change in certain ways, or not wish they would change, but just like
you can't
want them
stop.
To feel happier?
You're not going to be able to stop anything that your mind does. Your mind's going to wish this or wish that, no matter what.
You can guide it.
You can try to guide it, but the trick is to first is to develop this state called mindfulness, where you're watching the way that your thought patterns emerge and the way that they dissipate. Yeah. And then somewhere in the process of that, you can begin to develop compassion for yourself.